सर अटेंडेंस नहीं नीचे
अटेंडेंस चैट बॉक्स से लिखे दो, सीआर विल कलेक्ट देम.
ओके सर.
Write the attendance in the chat box. The CR will collect them. Okay, sir. So let's start from the things that we had discussed. So regarding the things, so Amijita, I had told you like I will be discussing the stress, strain, and all those things later on. Like when after class, I have to devote there. Just after this, I hope. Or rather, I can finish like SF bending moment, and then I can do that. So I'm just giving you some like assignments. So you have to do all those things. So like suppose you are having a 3D element. দেখতে পাচ্ছ স্ক্রিন শেয়ার করছি তো, নাহলে কিছু রেকর্ড হবে না, সত্যি বলছি স্ক্রিন শেয়ারই করিনি এখনো. So some of the things, so I'm just giving you some of the things as homework. So suppose you are having a basic element. So suppose this is a basic element you are having. So like let the length of the elements be dx, dy, dz. ঠিক আছে? So suppose so you have to derive all those things. So I'm just writing these things for you. So that is equal to del u by del x epsilon y, that is equal to del v by del y. Okay, not epsilon z. I am not going into the 3 dimensions and all. So epsilon x will be, epsilon z will be equal to del w by del z. Let me write that even. So these are the normal strains. So epsilon z, that will be equal to del w divided by del z. So you can make it delta also. In case of del, you can use delta also because it is only in the z direction. So only the z directional components you are having. So the partial differentiation won't carry a meaning. You can make it a full derivative. Okay? So you can write it like epsilon x, you can write it as del u del x also. So in this case, so I am taking the contribution. So I am taking the contribution. So there is a time lag in writing. So that is equal to del u by del x. So since I am considering only the x directional displacements and all, so I can make it like du by dx also. So you can make it a full derivative also. Okay. So now what about the shear strains? So the shear strains gamma xy. So gamma xy will be equal to, you just write down del v by del x. So these things you have to do. Plus del, I am just giving you some hints and all. Del u divided by del y. So gamma y. I am writing the 3D expressions. Okay? So gamma yz, that is equal to del w by del y plus del v by del z, and gamma আর কি রইলো xy yz zx. So gamma zx will be equal to del w by del x plus del u divided by del z. So all these things you have to do. So just I'm doing 1 or 2 things. The other things you try at your home. You try to follow any of these books on strength of materials, rather mechanics of materials, any book. So you'll be getting all those things. Okay? So just a small discussion like epsilon x is equal to say del u by del x, and say suppose gamma xy, if I write it. Okay? So gamma is equal to your del v by del x plus del u by del y. So as you can see, when I am doing the normal strain, so in the case of the normal strains, I am taking the displacements in the same direction. When you are considering u and you are just finding its derivative on the x direction itself. So del u is the displacement in the in the x direction itself. So del u by del x is actually giving you the normal strain. But when you are going to the shear strain, so this gamma actually, so these are the shear strains. So when we are going to the shear strains and all, so see, I am making it as del v by del x. So when I am considering the displacement in the v direction, I have to take the derivative in the x direction. So this is actually the displacement in the transverse direction, and compared to the longitudinal direction. Similarly, when you are making it as del u, you have to take the derivative with respect to the y direction. So it is just the opposite. So you have to take the derivative from on the lateral direction. Okay? So these things you have to prove. So you can follow in like Timoshenko and Young, some of the things are given, but you have to follow any other book that you like. You can search the internet and all also. Just find out by yourselves. You do it by yourselves because this is not part of your it actually directly it's not part of your any chapter. So that is why I am giving you it as homework. You do it by yourselves. I will be doing the derivations later on. So just the first one, I am doing this one for you. So suppose you are having a basic element. So basic element is suppose you are having a 3D element like this. So I'm having a 3D element like this. So say suppose let the x and y directions be say suppose x y directions be something like this. So in this direction you are having x. This is the y direction and this is the z direction. Okay, so let this be dx. On the x direction it is dx. On the y direction it is dy, and on the z direction it is dz. So maybe due to the rain actually it's writing it's taking a time delay actually. So just I am taking the front view of this one. So I am taking the front view of this one. So I should be getting something like this. So I'm drawing only the element in the xy plane. So when I'm drawing it in the xy plane, so let us write the displacements. So the x directional displacements, let it be u or ux, whatever you like. So on the other direction, it should be u plus del u by del x into dx. Okay? So this is like, say suppose you can write it like u plus. So this is actually the Taylor series expansion. So suppose it is actually, so on the left side you are having the displacement u is equal to ux. Okay? So on the other side, so the displacement on the other side, that should be equal to u, ux plus certain addition. So you should be having a certain addition. So I can make a Taylor series expansion of this thing actually. It is actually Taylor series expansion. I am only considering the linear part. So you have learned about Taylor series and all these things you have learned.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is actually a Taylor expansion of the Taylor series expansion of the thing. So I am getting del u by del x into dx. So I am considering a length dx of the element. So what I should be getting? So I should be getting epsilon x. So what is the strain in the x direction? So epsilon x will be equal to, so this is x and this is x plus dx. So that is, so what is the displacement of the element? So the displacement of the element will be like space shortage. So the displacement of the element will be, so a direction let it be ux, a direction it is u in x plus dx. So what will be the strain? So strain will be the change in the final displacement. So that is u x plus dx minus ux divided by the length of the element that you have taken. So let this be the displacement for an element dx, elemental length dx. So if I make a Taylor series expansion of this one, so I should be having like ux plus del u by del x into dx. So you can have
কনসিডার করেছেন সেইটা অনুযায়ী ওটা প্লাস ইউএক্স হওয়া উচিত ছিল না?
কোনটা?
আপনি যে ডিরেকশনটা দুটোই তো অপোজিট ডিরেকশন কনসিডার করছেন।
হ্যাঁ, তুমি এটাই, আচ্ছা তুমি বলছো ঠিক আছে, অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমি স্ট্রেসের রেসপেক্টে বলেছিলাম, তুমি এটা ইউএক্সও নিতে পারো। ঠিক আছে, তুমি এটা ইউএক্স নিয়ে নাও, এই ডিরেকশনও তুমি নিতে পারো, নট এ প্রবলেম। ঠিক আছে, যখন আমি স্ট্রেস করবো আই হ্যাভ টু মেক ইট অন দ্য অপোজিট ডাইরেকশন, বাট ডিসপ্লেসমেন্ট ইউ ক্যান টেক অন দিস ডিরেকশন। এটা তুমি অ্যাকচুয়ালি এদিকে নিলে এটা পজিটিভ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। এটা তুমি যে কোনো ভেরিয়েবল ধরো, ডোন্ট টেক ইট লাইক এনি, কোন একটা, ডোন্ট টেক ইট লাইক ডিসপ্লেসমেন্ট বা স্ট্রেস এই ধরনের তুমি ব্যালেন্স করতে যেও না, ডোন্ট ট্রাই টু ব্যালেন্স ইট, জাস্ট থিঙ্ক ইট ফ্রম দ্য পার্সপেক্টিভ অফ ক্যালকুলেশন অল. So on the left side I am having certain thing like ux, on the right side I should be having ux plus dx, some sort of thing. So what will be the net displacement in the positive direction? So that should be this part minus this part. ঠিক আছে? So if I make a Taylor series expansion of this one, so you will be having many things, like there will be like second order term, third order term, many order terms will be there. So it should be minus ux divided by dx. ঠিক আছে? So this and this will be cancelling out, and again this and this will be cancelling out. So what you should be getting for epsilon x, so epsilon x will be equal to del u by del x. So actually the strain, actually it's the partial derivative in the same direction. So whatever is the displacement along the x direction, if you make a partial derivative of that one, you will be getting the normal strain. Clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, at your home, you do it for epsilon y, epsilon z, you do, and this one you do. Okay, I'm just drawing the element, I'm just drawing the element. So when you're doing a shear strain, actually, so you should be having something like, so this was the element that I had considered initially. So this was x, this was y. Okay, so this was the element. So this is dx, this is dy. So now what I'm doing is I am applying a torque. I am bending it, like I'm applying a torsion. So it will be taking a shape sort of something like this. So actually, if this was the face, so if this was 0, A, B, C, so if this were the face actually, so it will take a shape like 0, A prime, B prime, C prime. So this is the final shape that the object is supposed to take, or the thing is supposed to take. So just you have to take the angles and you have to calculate this thing. So just you have to calculate gamma xy. So that will be equal to your del v by del x plus del u by del y. Okay, so you do at your home. So this one is your assignment, or whatever you call it, like assignment or whatever you call it. So you have to do it, and if you cannot do it, I will be devoting a class on that. So after we finish torsion, then there will be spring, and there will be BM and SFBM diagram. Then we will be sitting with all these things. So you have to consider everything from the perspective of the partial derivatives. So this one is your assignment. Okay, so this one is your assignment. Consult any books, consult it from the internet, everything, anything you like. So you consult it from the internet and all, and then you do this one. Okay,
So this is very much similar to our fluid mechanics, sir.
I mean, so everything is related, like fluid mechanics and this thing, everything is related. So that is how about finding out the strains and all. So I want to make it general, like don't always think like strain is equal to this by this. So always try to think it from the perspective of partial derivatives and all, so that you can relate the things. Okay? So this is so I will be more things we'll be discussing. So just this is a thing, since we are in torsion, actually we are studying this shear strain thing. So just I gave that to you as an assignment. So now I'm coming back to the things that we were in the process of discussion. So up till the last day, so I have sent you some notes also. So you can refer to the notes, or you can refer to the book also. So directly I have taken everything from the book as of now, so that you can directly follow them from the book itself. So last day we have done up to this equation number 3.4. So gamma by gamma max is equal to rho by C. So at any radius rho, what is the shear strain that is being developed in the element? So I am just drawing the element. So this one is the element. So it is at a certain radius, say rho. So this is the center rho, this is the radius rho, and this is the gamma. So this angle gamma will be equal to the shear strain itself. So why this angle gamma is equal to the shear strain? So that thing we will be discussing when you do all those like partial derivatives and all. Okay, so this is given in the book of Timoshenko also. You go to the chapter of pure shear, page number, it is 63. So you just keep studying those things. So it's given in the book of Timoshenko very shortly. Okay, so you can consult other books also. So what we have derived is gamma divided by gamma max, that is equal to your rho divided by C or capital R, what you say. Okay, so either make so last day what I had said it like rho C, where C is equal to actually capital R, or actually the diameter by 2. So whatever is the diameter, so D by 2 is C. Okay, so now if I try to draw this one on a, so now if I try to draw its variation, so I mean the variations if I want to draw it, so what I should be getting is like, so suppose if it is a solid cross section, so if it is a solid cross section short of this thing, so what will be the, so just follow the notes actually. So drawing is a bit difficult always. So this is tau. So sorry. So at the center, actually, the tau should be equal to 0, and it should be maximum at the outer fiber. So all these outer fibers. So every outer fiber will be having. So any point lying on the circumference of the bar, that is always carrying the maximum torsion, and the torsion is always 0 at the center. So this is the variation of the shear stress tau. So this one is actually your tau max, and at this point, tau at the center is equal to 0. So at the center, tau is equal to 0. Now, if I take a hollow cross section, so this one is a hollow cross section that I'm considering. So on this hollow cross section, if I draw the variation of the shear stresses, so this is rho and this is the shear stress tau. So this is the shear stress tau. So it will be minimum on the, so where the rho is minimum, so rho is minimum on the inner surface and it is maximum on the other outer surface. So gamma is equal to, like we got it like rho by c into your tau max. Okay? So where rho is minimum, so rho is minimum, so rho is at c is equal to c1. So rho is minimum at c1, so you'll be getting the minimum strain at this point. And where rho is maximum at your C2. So let this be C1. So let this be the inner radius. Let us call it by C1, and let this be the outer radius. Let us call this as C2. So if I draw the variation of the shear strength, so it will start from here. So there is no point here, like no point drawing this one. So it's just dotted. So this is the shear stress variation on the element. So it is minimum on the inner surface and it is maximum on the outer surface. So always two things you have to remember. The shear stresses are always maximum on the outer surface. So if it's a solid shaft, the shear stress at the inner surface is 0. So this is the tau mean actually. But if you consider a hollow shaft actually, so since for a hollow shaft, the minimum value of rho is actually the inner radius C1. So this point, the inner surface actually will be carrying the minimum shear stresses and the outer surface will be carrying the maximum shear stresses. So if I write an expression for all those things, so now if I write them, so if I now express them in terms of tau, so tau mean will be equal to tau mean will be equal to, so the expression is like tau is equal to rho by c into tau max. So tau mean will be equal to c1 by c2 divided by tau max. So you will be getting tau mean divided by tau max, that is equal to c1 by c2. So this is an expression for the hollow shaft. So if you consider a hollow shaft, so for a hollow shaft, the expression looks something like this. Okay. Next is, now let us consider what are the stresses that are getting developed on the element. So this is the shaft actually. So always we will be referring to by shaft. Okay? So let me so let me draw this one a bit enlarged. So we are considering any element. So this is the outer radius of the shaft. So it is either C by capital R, C or capital R, whatever you like. So in this book, they have referred to the maximum value of C. So the maximum value as R. The outer radius is actually, they have mentioned it as C. So C is equal to always capital R. So this is the outer surface of the shaft. So I am taking any element at rho. So at any radius rho, I am taking one element. So let shear force acting on this element be dF. Okay? So this dF, that will be equal to tau into dA. So if this area is actually dA, so the shear stress acting on the element, dF will be equal to tau into dA. And if I need to calculate what is the torque acting on this one, so I should be having rho into dF. Okay? So rho into dF, so that should be equal to rho into tau into dA. Okay. So this is dt actually. So now if I integrate, so the value of t will be equal to integration of dt. So that should be equal to integration of so I should be having integration of this one is rho into tau. So what is tau actually? So tau is actually your like if I write the expression for tau, so tau was rho by c into tau max into dA. So what is the expression for t? So that is equal to your integration of rho square by c into tau max into dA. So rho is a variable, c and tau max are constant. So c is actually the outer radius r. So you should be having your so tau max divided by c integration of rho square into dA. So integration of r squared dA. So rho they have like just you can relate it like r squared dA. So what is the integration of r squared dA over an area? So it's actually it gives the polar moment of inertia of the shaft. So what is meant by the polar moment of inertia? So you're having two inertia. One is the your rectangular moments of inertia and you are having the polar moments of inertia. So what is the polar moment of inertia? So suppose I am having a shaft like this. So this is the shaft. So it will be having three axes. So this one is the x-axis, this one is the y-axis, and this one is the z-axis. Or let I am calling it as the p-axis or the polar axis. So whenever I am calculating the moment of inertia of a cross-sectional area about an axis which is perpendicular to this plane. So see the xy axis, they are actually parallel to the cross section that I am considering. But this axis z, this is actually perpendicular to the cross section that I am considering. So whenever you are calculating the moment of inertia about an axis that is perpendicular to the cross section you are considering, so you are actually getting the polar moment of inertia. So that is what you are getting. So that is actually RZ, IZ. So what is IZ? So IZ always we know that is r squared dA. Since from in this book actually they have referred to r as rho. So that is why we will be you can write it as like rho squared dA. So this term is actually IZ. And always Iz as for the parallel axis theorem should be equal to Ix plus Iy. So this one is known as the polar moment of inertia, and these two is the summation of the rectangular moments of inertia. So since we are working with circular cross sections, so these things, so Ix, Iy, they are actually pi by 64 d to the power 4. So this is something you have to consider when you are working on bending. And whenever you are working on actually torsion and all, since you can understand that the shaft is being rotated about the z-axis. So that is why Iz plays a role actually, not Ix, Iy. So Iz is actually half of this one. So that should be your pi by 32 d to the power 4. So this is for a solid shaft, but if you are having a hollow shaft, something like this. So if you are having the shaft is hollow. So if this were a solid shaft of diameter, say capital D, so you should be having IP or whatever you call it, IZ or like polar moment, whatever you call it. So that should be actually equal to pi by 32 d to the power 4, or you can write it like pi by 2 r to the power 4 also. And when it is a like hollow cross section, we will be working on problems that have hollow cross section. So let the inner diameter be D1, di and the outer diameter be d0. So in this case, so in those cases, so I will be equal to I polar moment or IP, let's write it. So that polar moment of inertia will be equal to pi by 32 d0 to the power 4 minus di to the power 4. Or you can write it like pi by 2 r0 to the power 4 minus ri to the power 4. And since from our things like the things that has been discussed in the book, so you can write it like, so you can write it like C1. So C1 was the inner diameter, so C1 will be equal to D1 by 2 and C2 will be equal to D0 by 2. So IP for a hollow shaft, that is pi by 2 into, sorry, so R0. So R0 is C2. So C2 to the power 4 minus C1 to the power 4. So this is the thing that is given in the book of Beer-Johnston. If you go to any other book, might be they have followed R0, Ri. So don't get confused. C2 and C1 are just R0 and Ri respectively.
Sir,
So
can you move to the previous page, sir?
I have to go there. So after this, we had discussed.
Sir, here T is moment, right, sir?
T is the moment. T is the moment or torque actually. When actually it's a torque. Okay, the moment of the forces. It is the torque actually. The moment of the forces is actually a torque. Okay, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So eta hoche z. So if I make it, so this term is actually your I. Like এটা কি দিয়ে mention করি? Sorry, J. ঠিক আছে, এত বইতে actually এত জিনিস থাকে, so there are so many notations in many books, and since I follow many books, I get also confused sometimes. So T will be equal to, so J is the polar moment of inertia. ठीक है, so J is actually IZ. Just remember that one. Don't get confused with J anytime. So T will be equal to your tau max into tau max by C into J. So what I am getting actually is like your T by J, that is equal to tau max by C. Or you can write it like tau by R, tau by rho. So this is the general thing. Like whenever you're writing it like T by J is equal to your tau by rho, this is the general thing. So at any radius rho actually, so if you want to calculate the at any radius rho if you want to calculate the torque. So this is the expression that you have to follow. So let's do it something. So let's do some things like for a solid shaft. So if I do it for a solid shaft, so if I'm having a solid shaft, so what I should be having? So for a solid shaft, I told you like this is actually pi by 32 your d to the power 4. So that is equal to tau. So let it be tau max. So always you have to consider tau max because that is the value generally given. So this is the maximum allowable stress that is generally mentioned in the problems divided by rho. So suppose, so for a solid shaft, so that is C. So C is actually d by 2. So the torque on a shaft. So this is the maximum torque actually. So that is equal to pi by 16 dq tau max. So for a solid shaft, so just if you are given tau max and if you need to calculate what is the value of the torque, you can do this one, or else you will be given the value of the torque that is acting on the structure. So torque is actually acting on the outer surface. ठीक है? So this torque you may be given actually, and then you may be needed to calculate. You may need to calculate what is the maximum stress, maximum shear stress that is getting developed in the solid shaft. আর যদি এটা hollow হয়, so if it is a hollow shaft, hello.
Yes স্যার, বলছি JY টা পোলার মোমেন্টাম ইনার্সিয়াকে ডিনোটেট করছে, তাই তো?
J is the polar moment of inertia. ठीक है? J is actually, this one is the polar moment of inertia. So this is actually IZ. So any book you follow, maybe in some other book it may be written like IZ. IZ, whatever is IZ, you calculate that one. ठीक है? So তোমরা আগের chapter in your book, in your things like when you studied statics and all, like moment of inertia and all, so you have calculated the, like calculate the polar moment of inertia, or the calculate the polar radius of gyration and all those things. So you have to calculate Ix, Iy. So generally IZ values are not given. Generally Ix, Iy টা আমরা জানা থাকে. So generally Ix আর যেহেতু shaft actually always it should be like pi by 32 d to the power 4 or pi by 2 r to the power 4. ठीक है? So that is the general thing. So just since shaft are always circular in cross section, so it actually reduces our purpose. So you don't have to go for other shapes and all. So you don't have to go for non-uniform torsions and all. So for the case we are considering, so that is always the IZ. So this is actually the polar moment of inertia for a circular cross section, which is always pi by 32 d to the power 4 or pi by 2 r to the power 4. So this is the polar moment of inertia, polar MI. Polar MI means it is always the moment of inertia about an axis that is perpendicular to the plane you are considering, perpendicular to the cross section. So always we take the perpendicular to the cross section, generally we take it as the z axis. ঠিক আছে? So এটা হয়ে গেল. So next is we were up to this. So আচ্ছা, আমি এটা হলোর জন্য করেই দিই. So let's complete it for the hollow shaft, because that's what will be like all the problems that we have to do. So not like explaining every time. So suppose I'm having a hollow shaft. So I'm just drawing the cross section of the shaft, the YZ plane only, not the X, not any other plane. So this one is the your Z plane, this is the Y plane. So if you are having a hollow shaft, so J will be equal to your pi by 32 d0 to the power 4 minus di to the power 4. So like in the book also you can take it in terms of C1, C2. So actually like they have written it like pi by 2 your like C2 to the power 4 minus C1 to the power 4. So these are just the inner radius and the outer radius respectively. ठीक है? So if I go for the expression, so for a hollow shaft, T hollow divided by J, that is equal to your tau max divided by which one I should take? So for a hollow shaft, where is the maximum stress occurring? This one or this one? So always the outermost fiber carries the maximum shear stresses. So that is why these outer layers will be having the maximum shear stresses. So they will be having the maximum tau, and the inner fibers, they will be having the minimum value of the tau. So that is why when I am writing it tau max, so I should have to relate it with the inner radius, with the outer radius. So it is actually d0 by 2. So I mean d0 করে লিখছি because that is something you can understand very easily. C1, C2 is sometimes confusing. So if I write the expression, so it is actually pi by 32. So it should be d0 to the power 4 minus di to the power 4. That is equal to tau max divided by your d0 by 2. So t will be equal to pi by 16 d0 to the power 4 minus di to the power 4 divided by d0 into tau max. So this is the expression for a hollow shaft. Okay. So After this one, so now we are considering the angle of twist in the elastic range for a shaft. So the shaft is getting twisted. So the shaft that we were having, so it was twisted at a certain angle. So এখান দিয়ে we took a 1 point, from here we took 1 point. So this angle is phi, this angle was gamma. So this was A prime. So now if I intend to find out what is the maximum angle of the twist, so you cannot twist a shaft at your will, like 30 degree, 40 degree, you cannot twist it. So it can take a certain degree of twist itself. So that is why you have to limit the twist also. So in order to limit the twist actually, so you have to go for this thing, like, so you have to, so in order to limit the twist actually, so within the elastic range actually, so in order to calculate phi, so we have got like so just ekdom je initial things like we did, like gamma is was equal to your like rho phi by L. So what will be gamma max? So gamma max will be equal to the diameter of the circle. So when rho is equal to C, so when rho is equal to C, your gamma is equal to gamma max. So gamma max will be equal to C into phi divided by L. So C is actually in this case d by 2. C is always equal to d by 2, where C is equal to d by 2. ঠিক আছে? আচ্ছা, so এখান থেকে আমরা যদি phi টা ক্যালকুলেট করতে চাই, so what will be the value of the phi? আচ্ছা দাঁড়াও, so gamma is what? So now as per the Hooke's law, so as per the Hooke's law, tau max, tau is equal to g into gamma. So your uh, gamma max, so gamma max will be tau max divided by g. So if I write it like that one, so I should be having tau max divided by g, that is equal to C into phi divided by L. So what I should be getting, so phi, that will be equal to your, acha ebar tau max টা কি, again what is tau, what was tau max? আচ্ছা দাঁড়াও, so tau max was again, so now T by J, that is equal to tau max divided by C. So your, so if I now replace these things, like কোনটাকে replace করেছে দাঁড়াও, so tau max is actually TC by J. So TC by GJ, that is equal to C phi by L. So C gets cancelled. So phi will be equal to TL by GJ. So this is the, so if I consider a length L of the shaft, so suppose I am considering a length L of the shaft, so let this be the shaft. So I am keeping this end as fixed, right? So this is actually your, say, A end, this is B end. So now if I calculate phi AB, so phi AB not, let's write it as phi B with respect to A. So that is equal to TL by GJ. So in our case, see, we have kept this end actually fixed. So this is just a relative twist actually. So this is actually phi B minus phi A. So that is equal to TL by GJ. So since in our case phi A is actually fixed, so this is the twist at the free end. So just you have to remember there's the twist that we are considering. So this is the twist that is occurring at the free end of the element. So you can consider that at the point B. So if I go here, so this was the thing we were doing. So like this was B. So at this point, the twist is actually 0. And at this point, the twist is maximum. So this phi actually changes. ঠিক আছে? So what is this phi? So this is actually changes along the length of the shaft actually. So as the length of the shaft changes, the phi also changes. So when L is equal to 0, phi is equal to 0. When L is equal to maximum, phi is equal to maximum. So this phi that we are getting, that is actually the maximum twist that is occurring at a length L of the shaft. যদি তোমাকে suppose if you are given if phi a, so if phi a has not been 0, so in that case this should be this plus phi a. ঠিক আছে? So in our case this phi a is 0 since the other end of the shaft has been kept fixed. So this is the thing, this is the theory
স্যার ওই
totally. হুম।
গামা ইকুয়াল টু টাউ বাই জি, যে ওটা কি করে এলো ঠিক বুঝতে পারলাম না
কোনটা?
আগের পেজে স্যার, আগের পেজে
গামা
ওই
is
যে
equal to
স্যার গামা ইকুয়াল টু লিখেছেন না টাউ ম্যাক্স বাই জি, ওই জায়গাটা বুঝতে পারলাম না ঠিক।
ওইটা হুকস ল থেকে, মানে জেনারেলি আমরা যখন হুকস ল কনসিডার করি, হুকস ল states that your stress is proportional to strain. So it is actually, if you consider shear stress, then you will be getting the relation for shear stress. And if you মানে as per the Hooke's law, so if you consider the Hooke's law, so what Hooke's law states is within the elastic limit, whenever we are within the elastic limit, the stress is always proportional to the strain. So stress, as we know, it is of two types. One is your longitudinal stress and then another one is the shear stress. So if I go for longitudinal stresses, so these are the longitudinal stresses. So what are the longitudinal stresses? I am having sigma x, sigma y, all those things. I mean the normal stresses actually. So longitudinal or the normal stresses. So whenever you are considering the normal stresses, sigma is proportional to epsilon. So this is the expression that we write for your normal stresses. This is the notations. And when we are considering the shear stresses, so the shear stresses, so Hooke's law is valid for the shear stresses also. So shear stresses means your tau xy, tau yz and all those things. So in those cases, tau is actually proportional to gamma. So that is why using the Hooke's law, I have written like tau xy, that is equal to, so in this case the proportionality is different. So in this case it was sigma is equal to E epsilon. So E is actually the Young's modulus. So E, so whenever you're telling it like the Young's modulus, so it's actually the Young's modulus or the modulus of rigidity actually. So Young's modulus is actually the shear stress divided, Young's modulus is the normal stress divided by normal strain. And in this case the proportionality is different. So this is referred to as G. So this G is actually known as the modulus of rigidity or the shear modulus. ঠিক আছে? So just when you are considering the Hooke's law for a normal stresses and strain, you are getting a sigma is equal to E epsilon. So you are getting the Young's modulus or the modulus of rigidity. And when you are calling it as when you are writing the Hooke's law for the shear stresses, so shear stress is proportional to the shear strain. Tau is proportional to gamma. So the proportionality is being given by the thing G. So G is known as the shear modulus of the element. ঠিক আছে? Hello?
Yes sir.
So this is Hooke's law itself, just the modulus of, just the thing is G is actually your shear modulus. And when you are considering the normal stresses, the constant of proportionality is actually Young's modulus. So this one is known as the Young's modulus, যেটা আমরা আগের ক্ষেত্রে ইউজ করেছি. And in this case, this one is known as the shear modulus. ঠিক আছে? Okay, so let's start with some of the problems. এবার problems শুরু করব, but আজকে for as of today time is very very short. So next day আমি হয়তো একটা বড় problem করব, we'll be doing a big problem, but today at least we can do a very short problem, which I hope the time might permit. So just the first problem number 3.1. So you go to the first problem number 3.1 in the book. So this entire thing, it's given in a huge fashion. It's too much elaborated in Beer-Johnston. So just go by the book of Beer-Johnston, keeping in mind that what is C and all. Don't get confused with all those things. So rho is always the radius. So whatever you say small r is the rho. So they have taken radius by rho. And another thing is C. C is actually always d by 2. So when C is always the outer things, like so if you consider this figure, I have to hang করে যাচ্ছে একটু দাঁড়াও. So just see this figure. So if you see this figure, so C is always equal to d by 2. So the maximum value of rho, they have taken it as C. So C is always equal to d by 2, but when it is a hollow shaft, you have to take two C's actually, C1 and C2. So C1 is equal to your d, inner diameter, by the inner radius, and C2 will be the outer radius. So always you have to know two things in torsion, that the shear stress tau is always proportional to the radius actually. So when radius is equal to 0, when rho is equal to 0, tau is equal to 0, and when you're on the outer fibers, so when rho maximum means the outer fibers. So for a solid shaft, what are the outer fibers? The outer fibers are the outer circumference. So any element lying on the outer circumference of the shaft, that is always bearing the highest shear stresses, tau max. ঠিক আছে? So that is being shown in the figure number E, distribution of the shear stresses. Now if I consider a hollow shaft, you have to, so in a hollow shaft, rho cannot be 0, so rho should be equal to C1, where C1 is the inner radius of the shaft actually. So at the inner radius, so rho is minimum at C1, so at the inner radius you will be having the minimum shear stresses, and the outer fibers that will be carrying the maximum shear stresses again. So when rho is maximum means rho is equal to the outer radius, which is C2 here. So tau max will be at the outer surface. So as in bending, the same concept as bending actually. So just in bending, the axis you took was the neutral axis or the x-axis actually. But in this case, the axis you are taking is actually the axis of the shaft actually. So axis of the shaft. So any element that is lying farthest from the axis of the shaft, which are the outer circumferences of the shaft actually, they will be carrying the maximum shear stresses. And for the hollow shaft actually, the inner surface, the inner radius will carry the minimum shear stresses. So that is thing, nothing মানে big here. এগুলো আরো আমরা অনেক কিছু many things to discuss, but time shortage এর জন্য আমরা একটু তাড়াতাড়ি just move করে যাব. So let's start with problem number 3.1. এর পরে কি ক্লাস আছে?
স্যার আমাদের সেশন আর আছে DSGO।
ঠিক আছে, তো তোমরা ডিসকানেক্ট করে যাও যদি কোনো কারণে ওভারশুট করে যায়, ডিসকানেক্ট করে যাও। এটা জাস্ট ফার্স্ট প্রবলেমটা আমি ডিসকাস করব, ঠিক আছে? সো ইউ ক্যান সি দ্যাট ইউ আর হ্যাভিং এ সলিড শাফট এন্ড প্রবলেম নাম্বার 3.2, জাস্ট ইউ ট্রাই ইট এট ইউর হোম অলসো। আই এম জাস্ট গিভিং ইউ দ্য কনসেপ্ট অফ দিস টু প্রবলেমস। So in the first problem, you can see that you are having a solid shaft. The length of the shaft is given 1.2 meter and the diameter of the shaft is given, that is 76 millimeters. So you have to find out the maximum shearing stress caused by a torque. So the value of the torque is given and you have to find out the shearing stress, tau max, that is being caused in the shaft. And for the part A, so it's the same thing actually. So I am just replacing it with a hollow shaft actually. So the beauty is actually you'll be seeing that the hollow shaft is able to carry more torque compared to a solid shaft. So just so determine the maximum shearing stresses. So assuming that the solid shaft is replaced by a hollow shaft of the same outer diameter, but inner diameter they have taken as 24 millimeter. So you have to find the torque that they can bear. So always remember that a hollow shaft is always able to carry more torque. There is a derivation for that, not in our syllabus, but we can see it from the problem. So I'm doing the first problem, problem number 3.1. It's done in the notes, so you can follow the notes. So just the problems are very easy. For torsion, understanding the theory is very difficult, but understanding the problems is very easy. So problem number 3.1, if I do, it's a very easy problem. So the thing that is given, so this is the tau max, this is the tau allowable, which is the property of the material of the shaft. So this is the maximum shear maximum shear stress cause. So এখানে টর্কটা দেওয়া আছে actually, maximum shear stress টা আমাকে বের করতে হবে, not the next problem. So here the torque is given, so this should be T actually. এটা নোটে একটু ভুল আছে, হ্যাঁ একটু কারেক্ট করে নিও। So this is T, which is something given, so just correct it in the note. So this is 4.6 kilonewton meter. So this is problem number 3.1. So the torque is given and you are supposed to find out the maximum stress that is getting developed in the shaft. So the formula for this one is T formula chilo. So T by J, that is equal to your tau max divided by tau max will occur at C, where C is equal to your D by 2. C is always equal to D by 2. So what is D by 2? So the diameter of the shaft was given to be 76. So 76 by 2, so it should be 38. So that is 0.038 meters. So just put all the values. So what will be the value of J? So J for a solid shaft, that is pi by 2 r to the power 4. So what is the expression? So pi by 2 into r. So what is the radius? So radius is actually 76, I think. Right? No, 38. So that is 0.038 to the power 4. So you calculate the value of J. So you put that here. So this is actually T by, let's write it like pi by r to the power 4. Pi by 2 এটা r না করে C করো, ঠিক আছে? C is the radius. So pi by 2 C to the power 4, that is equal to tau max divided by C. So what is the expression for tau max? So tau max is equal to your 2T divided by pi C cube. So every value is known to you, so just put the values. T is given to you, C is you know. So just put the values. So tau max will come out to be, I haven't done the calculation actually. So try to koro, dekho, just check whether it's matching with the answers that you get. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Next
Yes,
is for
sir.
the next is for the hollow shaft. So for the hollow shaft, similar thing that just you have to do. So T by J is equal to, formula remains the same, tau max divided by your C. And for a hollow shaft actually where it will be the high. So suppose this is the hollow shaft. So I'm taking the outer radius as C2. So I'm taking the outer radius as C2. So always the maximum stress will be occurring at C2. So this will be C2. So for a hollow shaft, this is pi by 32, your C2 to the pi by 2, sorry. In terms of radius, it is pi by 2, C2 to the power 4 minus C1 to the power 4, that is equal to tau max divided by C2. So what will be tau max? So tau max will be equal to 2t into C2 divided by your pi into C2 to the power 4 minus C1 to the power 4. So just put all the values. T is given to you. C2 is actually your C2 is the outer diameter actually. So C2 is equal to actually the outer diameter divided by 2. So what is the outer diameter of the shaft? For the hollow shaft, what's given is like, কত বলেছে outer diameter টা? So the outer diameter, hollow shaft of the same outer diameter. So outer diameter is your 76 itself. Inner is 24. So this will be 72 by 2. Sorry, 76 by 2. So this will be 0.038 meters. ঠিক আছে? And what will be C1? And C1 will be equal to the inner diameter, the inner radius. So that is D1 by 2. কত বলেছে এটা? 24, তাই তো? So it should be 0.012 meter, I think. ঠিক আছে? So just put all the values and calculate them. So you'll be getting the answers. Hello? Hello?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
next, ঠিক আছে. So it's already 1 second just left. So just this problem you do. So a problem type I should have done that. So 8 actually you do. So in the second problem you are given tau max. So problem number 3.2, you do it at your home or next day I'll be doing. So the main thing is whenever you are having a solid shaft and you are having a hollow shaft, which shaft will carry the higher, torque in your terms in your okay. So just find out. So I'm having a shaft. So the tau max is given. So tau max is given to be like 45 megapascal, and like you have to calculate the torque. So you're having this. So this is the shaft actually. So a shaft, the length of the shaft is given. So L is given. So you have to calculate T. L টা লাগছে না actually. L is not needed. So if you draw the cross sections. So this is the hollow shaft. So let the inner one is, we are calling it as C1. Outer one we are calling it as C2. So for this shaft, so your J will be equal to pi by 2 C2 to the power 4 minus C1 to the power 4. So what will be C2? So C2 will be equal to your outer diameter by 2 and C1 will be equal to your inner diameter by 2. So what is the outer diameter given? Outer diameter টা কত দেওয়া আছে? Hello? আচ্ছা রেডিয়াসটাই তো দেওয়া আছে, it is already the radius is given, so it is 45 millimeter. So C2 is equal to your 45 millimeter মানে 0.045 meter and C1 is equal to 30 মানে 0.03 meter. So just put the values and what will be the আর কোনটা লাগবে? So you'll be needing C2. So C2 তো পেয়েই গেছে actually. So just put the values, everything you have. So just put the values. So T by J, that is equal to your tau max divided by C2. So just put everything, you'll be getting the value of this one. So just try this at your home. So just try it for the solid shaft also and just compare which one. So in your opinion, which one should be carrying the more torque? Hollow shaft or the solid shaft? If the outer diameter is same, like. ঠিক আছে, এটাকে একটু করবে বাড়িতে, ঠিক আছে? So this is for the hollow shaft. So just calculate the torque for the hollow shaft. So everything is known. C1, C2, everything is known. So just do the things at your home. The first two problems, 3.1, 3.2, we'll start with 3.3 on the next day. ঠিক আছে?
ওকে স্যার।
ওকে, তাহলে ডিসকানেক্ট করে দিচ্ছি, কালকে আবার করাবো।
স্যার দুটো কথা ছিল।
হ্যাঁ
স্যার দুটো কথা ছিল আর কি, সেটা
হ্যাঁ,
হচ্ছে
বলো
স্যার
বলো।
মেল
আচ্ছা, others
আইডিটা
can join the other class, হ্যাঁ, এক সেকেন্ড, others can join the next class. বলো।
স্যার আপনার মেল আইডিটা কি সেই সেমই নাকি আমি কি আপনাকে মেল করে পাঠাবো তো অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটা?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ওই আমার মেল আইডিতে মেল করে দাও, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ করে দাও, যা খুশি।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে। আর বলছি একবার একটু কাউন্ট করে নেবেন যে কতজন চ্যাট বক্সে লিখেছে আর কি, তাহলে আমি একটু সেভটা করে নেব।
ও চ্যাট বক্স দাঁড়াও, দেখছি। আচ্ছা, এখানে দেখে নিচ্ছি। এটা তো এখন বোঝা মুশকিল, অনেকে লগ অফ করে গেল। চ্যাট বক্সে কতজন লিখেছে? 1 2 3 4 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 28 জন। 28 এর পরে আছে 28 28 29 30 31 32 33 33 জন, 33।
ওকে ওকে স্যার, ওকে স্যার।
ঠিক আছে, ওকে, ডিসকানেক্ট করছি, নেক্সট ক্লাস জয়েন করো, কালকে আবার হবে।